Hi, welcome to What's Cooking podcast.
That was whack. All
What do
right,
you-
I put pressure on her. Don't get me wrong. I put pressure on her last
You
second,
didn't
so I'm
even
gonna
give me
take
a
over.
script.
I put pressure on her last
need
second.
it.
No, but this is good for the bloopers though. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Breeze,
It's your boy Michael.
It's Naya.
and you're now tuned into the hottest platform for the hottest upcoming entrepreneurs, business professionals, entertainers, creatives, athletes. What else? We done had artists up here, and
That's right.
a lot of different fields up here around the city, right? So today is a different episode, as you can see. New studio, as you can see, no guests. It's just three of us, so we just vibing out. You know, a lot of y'all said y'all want to see more episodes like this, so that's what we give to y'all, right? So on today's episode, before we even start, how's everybody doing today?
Oh,
I'm
just take
feeling
it away
good.
first.
I'm feeling great.
It's good.
How you feeling, Mike?
I've been cooling, having fun, doing whatever I want to do at the expense of nobody.
I feel that.
Okay.
Yeah. So how's your commute coming in, Mike?
Farrakh, it was first of all, I'm not even gonna sit here and sugarcoat this. It was traffic, okay? Van Wyck traffic. What's that other one? Bell Parkway traffic. Don't ever drive at 2-3 p.m. on a Saturday?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. So me and Lanai, we actually drove in together, right? What do you call it? Carpool buddies, right? And we actually had a nice conversation I actually want to start diving into today, right?
Okay.
So I was telling her about, the situation in my car, I just changed the rims and whatnot, and I was having this conversation with this Haitian guy, this older guy, he was speaking Creole, I was speaking Creole, and we was code switching back and forth, English, Creole, whatever. And he was talking about like just service, right? And he dived into the fact that with him, he felt like a lot of he was saying like it's more of a demographic thing with businesses in terms of how serviceable they are, because he was saying like a lot of black owned businesses, stuff like that, because he was using an example. He went to a tire shop, so he went to a tire shop. It was a black owned tire shop. He was saying like they weren't really serviceable in the sense that they said they opened at 8:00. They didn't pull up till 9:30. He was outside since 7:00, right? And then he was saying like, these guys here, it's a Guyanese Hispanic spot, right? These guys, he pulled up at 7:00. They opened at 8. He said they were here since 7:00, cleaning, doing everything they had to do, pushing out all the tires and stuff like that to get ready. And he was saying like, that's the problem with black businesses. It's like we don't always have that initiative. Well, not initiative. What's the word I'm looking for?
Sensitive.
Like we don't have that drive or that motive to think about putting the extra effort into really really just give the best quality service, best quality products, stuff like that. We just kind of money hungry in the sense that we're just trying to get this, whatever it is that we're doing done, collect our bread, and that's that. He was saying, at least with the Hispanic guys, it's like, they know like the quality of hard work. They understand what it means to work hard and stuff like that, and really make that extra effort to make sure like they put a smile on your face. So I'm saying, well, I don't really think it's a race thing. I think it's more so of just how bad somebody wants it. Like I understand, like, it's just one small example there, but I feel like there are a lot of people who say stuff like that where it comes to black business owners, where they always speak about black business owners don't quote unquote go the extra mile for their client or customer or whatever it is. But I feel like, okay, sometimes you might be just dealing with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I agree with that.
Right. So another thing that I added to the conversation with him was I was saying, well, you gotta understand, like, because he's not from the area, right? So he was just passing by, whatever. I was saying, like, this is a tire shop that's, been in the community for a minute. Okay. So, of course, being in the community, everybody knows you. Everybody, I mean, you know everybody as well, right? So, of course, everybody's going to come to you, and they're going to come to you because you're giving them the service they're looking for. But now it's up to you to really make them want to come back, right? Keep that retention. How do you keep the retention? By giving the service, by building relationships, right? And that was actually something Lanaya said that kind of triggered that into my head, is saying, hey, we could talk about this today, because I feel like having a personal relationship with anybody that you work with builds more than just rapport. It also builds trust, right? Because I feel like once you have that trust, one, you're going to always come back, but two, you're going to be more likely to recommend that service. Even if it's a 9 out of 10 and not a 10 out of 10 service, you'll still tell everybody, take advantage of that 9 out of 10 rather than go to the big franchise, the big commercial business just because you want to show love, right? And being from New York City, people say we don't show love. People say we're stingy. People say we, keep things to ourselves. We tuck everything. But when you actually see people push that out,
Go out.
there has to be a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a bias of, oh, this is my friend, but if this is somebody that you do service with, you don't even know the person's like family background, family dynamic and stuff. Clearly they're doing something right. So my first question to y'all is just to speak about what do you guys think is important when it comes to just build, like having those relationships with people. Like, why do you feel like that's important?
You want to take a stab at it?
I kind of wanted to start with the fact that all black businesses aren't a monolith. We all operate differently. Meanwhile, some of them may not get things right and may miss the mark. There are plenty others that have an attention to detail and care about their craft and do hit the mark and get things done. So it's kind of it sucks when we all get grouped because of the lack of attention to detail and customer service at one space. That sucks. I do think it's super important to build a rapport and give good customer service, because you never know if this will be somebody's time coming and they end up recommending their whole family. Some people have way more business just behind them. Some people can, just for example, food wise, if somebody likes your food, they might have you cater for their office meeting or cater for their realtor meeting, which I've seen before. So, that's why you always want to set the standard and have a good impression with all customers. Make sure you're open and on time, and also just greeting your customer. Hey, how's everything going? Was service fast today? Quick? I'm pretty sure we've at least been to a restaurant that has had a manager roaming around making sure your drinks came on time, your appetizer came on time. So customer service and making sure people feel seen and heard, that's one of the top things customers want to feel. And then when they don't feel like that, they will run to a Google review, to Yelp, or to other
raw
people or to raw reviews and tell you that. So
it's all about the experience. People prioritize the profit instead of just prioritizing the experience, because I always said that an experience can breathe another experience. Whereas let's say I service Lanaya, let's say I service you, because I performed well and superseded expectations. You're gonna pretty much do the marketing for me, basically. Like, you're gonna tell people like, nah, instead of going to Best Buy, instead of going to Amazon, instead of going to Apple, shop with Mike. And I won't even have to say that anymore, because you're basically doing it. And I feel as though that people like to say, oh, it's just business. Well, I look at business as a personal foundation, then it can be business. Like, you know how we say like identifications, where we say like, okay, I'm a black person, but I'm a human being before I'm a black person. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the customer service will always make or break a service provider, a business, corporation, anything, because I feel as that at the center core with people just want to be like seen, heard, valued, respected, and be able to be like, wow, this was, I could leave from this experience taking away that this was a good experience. And I always prioritize customer service and relationships, because they're gonna make people come back, and not just hit and run like you're just having sex on one night stand. I feel like you're a true testament to that too. Just going back to when I met you, right? Oh yeah. Because it's like, good times. I mean, for the people that don't know, you were like one of the biggest wholesale electronics guy back in the day. Yeah. So it's like, I met you just off the word of mouth. And not even that I meet you off the word of mouth, but I seen it myself, where it's like somebody be like, yo, we're selling PS5s, and I'm seeing people tagging you. I don't even know you yet, right? I'm just like, well, when I need a PS5, I know who to go to. Good time. Right, then when I actually need an Apple product, same thing. Who's selling Apple products, right? Yeah. People tag you under my post and stuff like that. I sold to Lanaya before.
For real? My first MacBook.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Mike.
Yeah. How's mom, by the way?
Mom is good.
Yeah,
she's great. Thank you so much for asking.
She's cool. I love them a lot. Like, I really valued that experience a lot. That was good time.
Michael's customer service is A1 from point A to point B. I still remember buying my laptop, and like from every step of the way, he's like, okay, order submitted. All right, it's en route. Okay, it's gonna be here on this day. Okay, I'm literally 15 minutes out, like every step. And it's crazy because Michael wasn't even the one delivering it. He had somebody delivering it for him. You wasn't even the one. It was your brother. It was my brother. And you were still keeping me updated every step of the way. Somebody could have just fumbled and been like, keep calling when you're outside. But I had every single step at every single step. So
Yeah.
definitely,
That was good. Oh, wow.
that showed
Shout out
me.
to Blessing, by the way, right?
Yeah, but shout out to my brother Blessing. That was fire. That was wow. I'm
Of
really,
course.
Congrats to him
Wow.
too, by the way, right? I just seen you post. You graduated.
Yeah, he graduated from the LPN stuff. So
That's what's up.
shout out to him. Shout out to him.
Yeah. So now, how do you feel on the question? What are your thoughts?
Restate the question real quick.
So, I guess not really more of a question, more so of a statement. So, if you could, in your own words, like just emphasize the importance of building relationships as whether you're the business owner or just the client or customer.
I really think, well, I'm a business owner, so I'll speak from that standpoint first. I really think that it's important to build relationships and get to know your customers because just like to expound on what Michael said, you never know who is going to bring way more clientele and just take your business to the next level. You know, I was touching on food because I cook, and, you know, you can have the right catering, and if you impress that client, they will lead you in so much other doors from that room and that catering right there. So it's definitely important to put your best foot forward and also to be consistent because people do pay attention to that as well. If they came and they got quick service or your food tasted a certain way, it had this certain amount of freshness, and the next time it's completely different. I feel like it's really important to just make sure that you're putting in quality and putting in the work to make sure that you're standing out to your customers and you're doing right by your customers. So I definitely feel like it's important. And from a customer standpoint, I definitely like to build relationships. Let's just speak on my service providers. I like to bring them water. I like to bring them snacks. I like to ask them if they need anything from the corner store because, you know, you never know if somebody's been having a tough day or maybe, you know, she's a little hungry and she hasn't had time to snack in between clients. You know, we all don't like to watch our hairstylist eat in front of us. So she's probably trying to be, you know, respectful of that. And that's why I like to bring snacks, bring a little water.
Yeah.
It lightens up the mood also. It lets them know like, okay, she sees me as a human being. And, you know, she might even throw something in, do your hair a little better.
You know, even add to piggyback, right? Like, all right, you know when y'all do Ubers, right? And they ask y'all to rate y'all driver.
I was just
actually
about to
legit rate the driver. I'm not giving it no, like I do on some rated from 1 to 10 on some key please shit. Like I actually would rate him and
1 to 5.
Rate him or her 1 to 5, 1 to 5,
and do the feedback notes.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'm
feedback
like
too,
extra
yes.
clean car or like
Gave
quick
us
route.
more, something like that. Like, and I think it's like even with the laptop thing, like it's important to have a rating system because that it's like, you know, when you go in a restaurant, there's this letter grade like that they put on there to see if it's like safe to eat or, you know, whatever. I love rating systems because we can actually gauge you from the rate, and not everybody's rating is always going to be the same, but it's important to try to give a great experience so your customer satisfaction, yes, a customer satisfaction can be up. Like that's a real thing. Trying to remember, I had this analogy in my head, but it's okay.
Well, analogy I have is just a typical, you know, hair, makeup, beauty, like that industry, like that typical relationship there. Because it's like, you would just think the barber's just cutting your hair, and it's like 10 years from now, 10 years later, or even 10 years from now, right? For anybody that just, you know, formed a bond with their barber, hairstylist, makeup artist, whatever, they're still doing their whatever it is, essentials. But at the same time, now they're a part of your life. Like me and my barber, when I moved to Queens, I was just looking for new barbers all the time, right? So it's like, and it's great 'cause I kept going to the same barbershop, but I kept going to different chairs. And it's like, when I met my barber, Shane, shout out to Shane too, he's been a big supporter of this podcast. When I met Shane was the only one who actually said, oh, like, where you from? Oh, you new to the area? Okay. Oh, here's my card, right? He gave me his card, right? After that, I told, you know, because I was in school and whatnot, going back and forth, hey, how's it going? Happy holidays. When you coming back in town? You need a cut? How's everything going? All right, cool. You know, I appreciate it. I respect it. At first, I'm thinking he just want to cut my hair, but at the same time, too, it's like, after that, it's like, by the way, how's you know, your grades are good. What's going on with school? Like, you dealing with like the women out there? Like, what's going on? Like, you know, he try to get personal with me. And I actually respected it because it's like, this isn't just somebody trying to force me to come back to the chair. 'Cause I'm always come back to the chair, right? Because, you know, I trust him as my barber. That's who I've been going to consistently. But now it's just like, now he's actually asking me personal questions, getting to know me more, laughing with me, having conversations with me, stuff like that. To where I'm just like, okay, I can trust this guy. It's a big bro right here, you know? And vice versa, he's opening up, talking about his kids, you know, what they did and stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, you know, like,
Awesome.
this feels genuine. It doesn't feel like forced. It's not like I'm in Foot Locker and somebody's asking me every 5 seconds, "You need help? You need help?" Like this guy actually cares
That's a good one. That's
about more than just my hair. He cares about my soul too, right? My mind, you know, everything like that. So I feel like that's a good comparison right there. Just everyday service right there.
The barber analogy is tough. I ain't gonna
Yeah. Because I was gonna say too, like it's like you made the analogy about Uber, and that was actually what I wanted to speak on. But even just like in general, like you ever been to a restaurant, you know, somebody give you good service or whatnot, you're gonna give them a little extra on the tip side, you know, because
especially if they black.
You said especially they black.
Definitely. I OD on the tip if they black, definitely. Super.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like we have this this connotation, right, that. I wouldn't say us, but I feel like in general, because this is something that I've heard, right? People tend to look down at, like, I guess when it comes to a black service provider, they think, like, they're kind of going to be lazy or they're just here for their money. And, you know, they tend to look at the other demographics and think, oh, you know, Asian person works hard, the Hispanic person works hard, white guy works hard, just because, you know, they might have, like, they're in a more like a bigger, more popular area, you know, they have all these resources, stuff like that, compared to, you know, a lot of us as black entrepreneurs that probably don't have access to this. So, you know, they might have like a cleaner services, stuff like a cleaner appearance in terms of how their buildings look, or you know, just typical neighborhood stuff that don't even factor into like the actual business. Probably just something that has to do with the area, right? Tax money, right? So like. Go to a spot in the hood, of course you can see potholes and stuff like that, right? Go to a spot in like a rich city area, of course you can see solid gravel, you know, on the floor, stuff like that. But yeah, I feel like it's a lot of times where I hear those type of conversations like I did this morning, and I feel like it's cringing to listen to, right? Oh, going to y'all reels, right? That we just posted about cringe content, but it's cringing to listen to because it's just like. Not everybody's like that. It's like everybody needs to have that experience, right? You can't just judge somebody off of one
judge a group of
one experience. Yeah, a group of people off of one experience, right? And that's why I feel like with raw reviews, I at least give them credit that they allow the business owners to respond because
I like that.
There's a lot of ignorant, you know, disrespectful people that quick to throw a frank. You know, blast you on the internet.
There's
stuff
a lot
like
of
that.
clients there. The minute that things don't go their way, they are immediately trying to throw you under the bus. If you're not trying to do something a certain way or compensate them in a certain way, there are times on raw reviews where you will see that the customer is clearly very biased about one thing and just completely wrong. And it's just like, you're just upset. You're actually just angry. Wait, she refunded you, but she blocked you, and you're upset that she blocked you. She doesn't have to service you. I was confused about that.
Bro, that's in before I don't want to skip over the black part question, but I find it hilarious that there was always this popular quote that they say the customer's always right. I disagree. I understand it from a business psychological sense, but as far as like essentially what you just said, they're quick when people have a vendetta against you, it doesn't matter all the good you've done before. That's their vendetta, and they're going to make it their mission to make it their narrative to make sure that you end in some shape or form. Whole time they're not really stopping nothing, because attention, all attention is good attention in a way, even if it's bad attention in the aspect of the scenario you just named or whatever. Like, you're mad because I blocked you despite the fact I don't want to deal with you. Well, your money is not my good money, and I will still get other money from other places. So,
I want to add on something. As what had you said? Basically, like, not all money is good money.
Yeah, not all money is good money.
I think that's really important to note. And also, I believe that the customer can definitely be wrong. It's just about the fact that how you go about the customer being wrong. Because you don't just tell the customer you're wrong.
Yeah, you can't tell
them. You have to go around it in every other way. And maybe, like, let's say this was stated in your policy, you know? You can just be like, hey, it's cited in this part of my policy. Here's the screenshot right here. But when you start to stoop down to their level, speak to them in a certain type of way, dismiss them, not reply to them, then you end up seeming just as wrong as the customer. The customer can be wrong, of course, just like at a restaurant. Sometimes it will say on the menu what comes in it, and you are like, I don't want to eat this. This has this in it. And what if it said it on the menu? You still don't want to pay for it. You still don't want it, right? So they still swap you out. What did you say?
That's why it's good to have things in writing. Emails, everything. I keep every document.
They'll still swap you out to please you, but guess what? You were wrong.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna go and be like you're wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes they still have to do things to smooth it over. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if they still make you pay for that plate, you're probably gonna go and run your mouth on Yelp, on Google reviews, and maybe even on Instagram that you had to pay for stuff that you didn't want. And then they'll also throw in little things like maybe their server had messy hair, or you know how they just say random things because they're upset. Like
Irrelevant things that make no
was just
sense.
like,
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like when we went to the steakhouse.
Oh
other day.
my God, bro.
Oh, well, I mean, y'all went. I
Yeah.
put up mad late. I
I'm
put up
try-
mad late,
they,
but
I'm
y'all
trying to-
could have went to the Google reviews before going there. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to get it out of my head. That's-
nah. But what happened? Apparently,
Oh my.
what the chef told shit? What did he tell? Like the steak was.
I would not relive this right
Mike, you told me you experienced it. I just heard what happened. What-
All right. It was, put it this way. People were doing, I say that the moment I felt, it was a lot of things wrong, but I would like to say, what was it? Chelsea House, right? That's what we went to?
Yeah,
It's
I didn't
sad.
want. I didn't want to name
Black-owned,
drop.
sadly.
I didn't want to name
I-
drop him, but yeah.
Nah, I like the place aesthetically wise and all that stuff. The servers were cool to me or whatever, but again, it's my experience really doesn't really matter here. It's all about the group experience. Oh, it's all about the group experience and everything. And I felt like the waiters could have handled that a lot better. So, for example, you remember how you just rebutted me and said the customer is always, you can't stoop to their level. The waiter was literally like, all right, he went from calm to like kind of like dismissing us, and I didn't really like that. I didn't like that at all. And
Distasteful.
we ended up having a private conversation about it. I said, you shouldn't have just let it go like the first time around or whatever. Then, trying to recall this. Why would you put me on the spot?
I mean, listen. All I understand from the situation is y'all say I ain't like the food, and he said, "Well,
Yeah.
y'all don't know good food."
Yeah, basically, he was
That's essentially what
like
he
you
said.
have no right to tell someone what their taste is supposed to be. Like
Yeah.
that's my taste. Like I'm sorry that offends you. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't really like that completely. So that's the part I was going off at like before he brought it up again. So, but yeah, it was an experience. Put it that way. It was an experience, and I felt like our friend's anger was justified a little bit. In my personal opinion, I thought it was justified personally. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sometimes too,
What is
it's
a
a
good
learning
aesthetic
lesson.
to
But
bad
you know what it is too. Like sometimes it is good to just like not build those bonds for those type of situations, but build those bonds because you never know who's gonna come
Yeah.
next after that, right? Because again, like everything's gonna be passed on from the word of mouth, right? This brand right here, Soda NYC. I didn't even know these guys until like they asked to be on the podcast. But then it's like I seen the relationship they had with my friend. Shout out to my boy TC. He's been on, oh yeah, y'all should know TC by now. But you know, TC's the one who really pushed this brand, and I said, you know, I'm gonna go get me a hoodie by them. So small things like that count.
The hoodie's fire.
Thank you.
I would like to revisit the black business narrative that he was speaking about before we
Yeah,
went
let's
over.
talk about that.
So I don't like that trope that we're lazy. We're not attentive to detail. I don't like that stuff because a lot of the government society, they swagger jack what we do and they whitewash it or whatever. And then they're going to sit here and say, hey, giving them these white American smiles and stuff like that. And that's cool. And they won't call them lazy when there have been lazy experiences from white people. There have been lazy experiences from Asian. You know how many times, and I'm not trying to like throw people under the bus here, but you know how many times a black woman has complained about an Asian fucking up their nails? Let's be real here. You know what I'm saying? So that trope isn't really like it happens, but it's not something I'm gonna like completely like attach to the like black people that service bid with us.
Hispanic people were really lazy back when they used to do our hair to the point where they used to put perms in our conditioner.
Literally.
And they wanted to like have an easier experience doing kinky hair. Like there's a lot of businesses who have done shady stuff and lazy things.
And sometimes too, I mean, it's funny that you brought it up because I was watching the reel that you did the other day where you said it was relatable, right? So you just said the reel when you collabed with that platform and you were asking people
what's the juice TV?
about black stereotypes.
Stereotypes, about black people. Yeah.
And it's funny too because it's like, listen, we say this about our own people, but then it's like we never call out the other nationalities.
I got heat for
the other ethnic groups when they do things out of just racial, like on a racial injustice type of thing. Because I have a lot of black Hispanic friends who might go to a Hispanic hairstylist and they don't think she speaks Spanish because she, well, multiple girls, but they don't think they speak Spanish because none of them look, you know, like light skin or whatever. So
they don't look the part.
They'll start talking shit in Spanish, and then what happens? They'll be like, "What you just said?" And then now you're screwed over.
The language
now,
barrier broke.
Either you could do it their hair for free, or something better, or something else is gonna happen to y'all. So it'd be like that.
I wanted to touch on, why do I always forget? It seems my ADHD brain.
No, I mean, it's fine though, because you know we got a huge lineup going in for today.
I said, I was gonna touch on real quick that I feel like the problem with black businesses is that I feel like black people don't want to hold them accountable sometimes, and we let them slide with things.
Yeah,
we do.
Like, I used to work at a Caribbean restaurant, and like sometimes they would just be out of multiple things in the night, or food would take over an hour and a half and change. Like an hour and a half, I'm not even being exaggerative, and like those kind of things are just not okay.
Yeah, not okay. Yeah.
Even sometimes when I go to black restaurants, and like the other day I went to this black restaurant and they didn't have mezcal. That is a super popular like a very popular liquor to have in your bar. And like one of the guys, he just was like, "So you don't have any mezcal?" And all she had was like Casamigos, Reposado, Don Julio, like the typical mainstream liquors. And it's like, if I go to any white bar, I'm going to have vermouth, a wide variety of things. I'm going to be able to have a martini, a dirty one, a spicy marg, any type of drink. And it's like, why when I go to certain black restaurants, do you guys not have a proper cocktail bar together? Like, it's like the most basic drinks. And like, I had a rum punch, and it was literally syrup, like a rum punch kind of like syrup, and then with rum on top. And I was like, you couldn't even make like your own homemade rum punch? That's kind of like ridiculous. So it's like the shortcuts that's being taken. And then also patrons are like, you know, oh, we love a black owned business. We're not trying to diss you guys. Or like, then when we're holding them accountable, it's putting them down, or it's bashing them. Like, no, you need to extend your bar program. You need to do better. Make an actual playlist. Why am I hearing a Spotify ad during like service? Why? Like, I'm confused. Why am I hearing Pandora ads, baby? Like, this is confusing. You know that I know it's a different demographic, but certain restaurants that you work at, they have like a personalized playlist. They have somebody that actually they paid to curate a playlist. That's the thing. They train their workers. You guys aren't even training your workers. You just are throwing them into the fire. And there's a lot of restaurants like that. It's sad. So there's a lot of things that need to do better with being held accountable. Restaurants can be a shady business, period, but like, we definitely do lack in some areas, and I feel like we don't vocalize it because we're trying to baby our people and not make them look bad.
But in the same light too, to counter argue that, there's been even with this podcast, you'd be surprised, right? There's been times where people like kind of try to guilt trap those people into feeling away, right? Like, I had this one guy tell me, like, you know, he'd love to, like, where is he from? I think he's from the DMV area. This guy I knew from back in college. Hit me up. He's like, yeah, you know, I love what you're doing. I love the mission and all that stuff. But, you know, I'd love to be a part of it too. I said, yeah, but, you know, like, no offense to him, but it's like, I didn't know him to be an entrepreneur. So I'm like, you know, what do you do, if you don't mind me asking? He's like, oh, everything's on my page. I'm like, don't really answer my question. So what do you do exactly? He's like, yeah, you know, I got the clothing. I do music. I'm like, where? Send me a clothing page. You know, yeah, bro, it's on my page. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Terrible answer.
I can't really push that, because it's like, it's not really like, it's like no knock to you, but it's just like, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look organized to just be doing it like that. And on top of it too, it's like, I can't really tell what your brand is to really bring you to my platform. I ain't saying this is like a high value type of thing, but it's just like, you know, you need some work to that. And then what do you do? Instead of taking my advice and, you know, saying, okay, I see where you're coming from. He said, oh, you know, but as your own black brother, like we was in school, like, you know, we was doing all this stuff together. We was hanging out. You can't hold it down, put a brother on. I'm just like, bro, it's not about no race, bro. Like, I would love to, but you're not giving me no reason to.
I would have probably ripped him to shreds personally. Yeah. And the reason, and I want to piggyback off that, right? I want people to understand the importance of an elevator pitch. Understand that really carefully. The simple fact that he said it's on my page, that is the worst answer you can give. Almost literally, if it's not the worst, it's
it's disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie.
Like, you're supposed to be able to say what you do in the span of like, It could be 15, 60 seconds, don't matter, but you should be able to hook him within 15 seconds to say, hey, I'm a clothing designer or something like that. That would have been instead of saying, look on my page. And who's to say I have my phone working right now?
Right.
Like, bro, no. I enjoy verbally ripping.
Yeah, only reason I let it slide is because it's like I know him personally. I know he like.
I hope you enjoyed another episode of What's Cookin' NYC. You can't find us in any air fryer, and you can't cook us because we're available on all streaming platforms. Like, comment, subscribe.